Okay, so my goal for today is to just keep making some progress on my site here. So let's take a look at where we are now. Switch over here. And if we're looking at my site, let's go in here and where am I going here? Okay, and then I can make sure that I've got all my dependencies up to date, and then let's run this. If I can spell. Okay, so I'm firing up the site, and what we left off with last time is I had been making a bunch of changes to the style sheets. So we're converting these CSS modules over to inline styles, or to emotion. And so what that's looking like in practice is we've created a config styles that has like our global colors, fonts, animation stuff, our media queries up here. And then I've got these functions that are doing a global injection of kind of styles that we need. So this is like a big old reset. This is a typography setup. So just some kind of general typography rules that my linter doesn't like because they're not in the right order, apparently. And then what else is going on? We've got button styles in here, footnotes, images, just all that kind of stuff. Later, someday, I will get around to converting these image things and like the button things over into components so that they can be used in MDX, because I'd love to get MDX running. For now, that is not on the cards, or at least not in the scope of what we're going to do today. So I'm going to take a couple hours here. Let's see, it's 2:30. So yeah, let's take a couple hours and just really take a big bite out of as much of this style conversion as I can. And we're going to do that by trying to figure out where the hell we were when we left off. So here is the site. Make that just a little bit smaller so I can actually kind of see what's going on. And what we broke is, you can see here, my popover doesn't work. If we look at my working site, this is the public one, we get this popover whenever you click a button that's supposed to do that. That's currently not working, and I don't even think it's giving me console errors, which is, whoops. Yeah, we're not getting errors or anything. So something is going wacky, and I don't know what. So let's dig into that. What I was doing was, let's see here. So on my index page, we've got, that's not the right thing, this here. On my index page, we've got all these emotion styles that we put together. And then down here, we're running the with popover. With popover gives us an open popover function. That open popover function is attached to button, which calls handle click. Handle click is defined where? Excellent question, Jason. Let's run up here, find it. So we've got a handler function, that's what we passed in, and then that becomes an event handler. So it does event, prevent default. So let's just log and see if anything's happening when I click it. Okay, so it's at least getting there. So then let's take a look at the handler function, which is defined in with popover. With popover is going to return this function here, this open popover. So I'm going to see if the hell does this mean? Window.log event? Am I attaching things to the window? Because that seems like maybe a bad idea. What is window.log event? Did I like find some... Whoa, what is this? When did I write this? I've literally no memory of ever even hearing of this. So I apparently did a thing. Do I get insights in here somewhere? Where would these show up? Appear under the group named open. What is that? What? I don't know. I'm clearly doing something wrong. I don't know what that is. I'm going to... Yeah, I for real don't know what that is. Let's do... Make sure I actually know where it's coming from. Pop over. And make sure that we've got the latest version. Okay, so that is running, which means that my set state show popover is true, and it's all coming back to me now. So the problem is that we've got this hidden class. Where is it? This hidden class, and that is being added in here. So what I think is the problem is that this popover is like this hidden isn't being turned into a class the way that we would expect. And I think what I'm seeing is that the hidden class here is not directly translating over here, which means that we have issues where it doesn't actually like show my JavaScript isn't working the way that I want it to. So what I'm going to do to fix that is hit it with a hammer. And what that means is I'm going to run inject global from here, and we're going to do gross things, inject global, and now this is going to be JS overlay hidden. And if somebody actually knows how emotion works, maybe send me a DM or post it in the chat, because I feel like this is definitely gross. That gives me my JS overlay hidden. And so then I can come in here, and wherever hidden was used, I can, is this looking for a class name? Yep, so that is looking for a class name, not a selector. So I'm just going to drop that in, and then I'm going to drop this in here. And if I am correct, this will now give me a working popover. There it is. So we still need to fix the styling on it, but yeah, so the problem was when you are passing class names around for events, which in this case, I'm trying to, I just got to delete this. I really don't know what it is, and it's clearly not helping me understand anything, so I'm just going to kill it. And let's see. So yeah, we've got all these things in here, and then over here, we're just passing these around. And I have inconsistent quotes, and that makes me unhappy. Okay. Don't know why Prettier is not firing. I probably disabled it in this view. But so we've got a popover working, and that's good. We've got, yeah, it's reading those classes. I don't love this global injection, but at the same time, I don't really have a good reason not to use it. Did I get an error? I don't know. But so then what we should see is if we look for the emotion stuff, there's going to be a bunch of these. Yeah, rather than expanding all of those, I'm probably just going to have you take my word for it, because somewhere in here is the globally injected JavaScript stuff for showing and hiding. Yeah, anyways, that's all great. So that's good. Let's take a look then at actually styling this popover, which we are going to do by getting into the popover itself. And it looks like some of it has been styled and some of it has not, which I would say is likely caused by me getting distracted halfway through. So let's take a look at what we've done. I've got, let's get rid of that altogether. And let's go down here and look at what I have styled. I've got an overlay. So my overlay is brought in, and that's in there. What's not in there is there any overlay styles in here? No. My popover container is the popover. So that one has, that's been pulled across. And then I've also pulled across that part. Okay, so that's all good. My image wrap is not styled at all. And that needs to, yeah, I've got an image, so that's styled. And then at the vert small, it's display block, we got that. My text wrap is not styled at all. My heading is styled. Form wrap has not been styled. My opt-in notice has been pulled across. My close button has been pulled across. Overlay hidden is this class that we pulled in. So that one is pulled across. And so then we get into these. So we pulled over the popover. With these ones though, I need to just set some basic styles on these unstyled ones. And in fact, because these feel like, oh yeah, let's just do that. I'm going to do it like this. And then since it's just the one line, I'm actually going to just duplicate that because it feels silly to like create a helper class that just has the one style in it. If there was more duplication, I'd probably do that, but I'm not going to worry about it this time. Let's take that up here. And okay, so I've got that going. Okay, and then over here, I can collapse this one. In my text wrap, that also needs to have the margin 0. So I'm going to find my text wrap, and that needs this, oh wait, I gotta style this up too. So this is going to be media medium, right? Boy, missed a few of these. I should look at media, medium. Yep. So I've got my media medium. And those are showing up properly. So then I need to pull that out over here. And let's also add in the margin. And there we go. And then for the form wrap, we're going to do the same thing. So let me just grab this whole chunk so I'm not copy pasting a bunch. Okay. Take this out a little bit. And this one, we're going to do like that. And so this is just kind of some general CSS grid setup. My hope is that by using it, it makes things look nice and neat. And if I refresh the page, it has not been applied, which means that I missed something. So we've got some issues there. My image needs to have, where is my image? Here. Then with this one, that's going to have a display block and a max width. And then the heading is going to have a similar setup, which is going to be up here somewhere. No, it's not. It's going to be down here. There it is. And that's going to have a bigger, smaller font size. And what does this change? So we're getting closer. And this one, it looks like I just need to say inside of the popover, which is going to be up here. I'm going to add this but I don't think we need that because I'm pretty sure I already applied this. So let's take a look. Here is my outer wrapper, and yeah, it's already been applied. So I'm just gonna get rid of that in general. And what we should see then is that it will still be applied, but now I'm not nesting a bunch of classes. Yeah. And that's much better. So cool. Looks like what is broken here. So this is my image, and this is my text wrap, and this is my form wrap. And if we look at what it should be doing with the grid, my image wrap should be starting on the second column, and we can start looking at this. If I do a hover here, we can see that the text wrap is top left, and that's going to be like 1, 1 is as far as the columns are set, or grid is set up. The image is going to be column 2, row 1, and then the form is set up to go span 2 columns, and it's on row 2. So if we look at this, we see the image starts on column 2 and starts on row 1, and the text wrap starts on row and column 1, and the form wrap starts on row 2 and spans 2 columns. So it's like a weird syntax when you first start using it, but I absolutely love CSS Grid. It's pretty fantastic. So huge thanks to I think it was Rachel Andrew for sure, and I believe Jen Simmons is the other champion of CSS Grid. Let's keep rolling here and fix this form, which I believe, is it broken because I'm pulling in? Yeah, because I haven't styled this yet. So what I'm going to do now is delete this popover code because we're not using it anymore. And then I'm going to refresh the page, make sure that we don't get any errors. Console's clean, so no errors in the terminal. We have effectively eliminated one more piece of code. Hooray. So then let's get this opt-in styled up and cooperating. So I've got, this is the the CSS module. This is the opt-in. What did I just do? I'm going to get rid of the popover index. It's with popover. Don't need any of that right now. Instead, I want the opt-in. So let's do that. And I'm going to start moving things over. So I've got this is a static class. I'm going to include, what do I want? I want styled from React Emotion to start. And then we can start actually styling these things up. So I've got a wrapper that has no styles whatsoever. And I'm going to collapse all of these things because I don't need to do anything with them just yet. So I've got a wrapper. The wrapper currently comes back empty, so I'm not even going to stress about it. I'm just going to leave it as is. In fact, I'm going to try dropping it all together because there's no reason to have a div when you don't need a div. And we're going to hope for the best on that because that could cause everything to explode. Let's let's just see what happens. Then I've got a form and a form submitting, so we can come up here and do const form equals styled form, and its actual styles are position relative. Great. And then you can swap that out. And the cool thing about this is that we can still do conditional classes in here, but now we need to do them a little more judiciously. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to import CSS from Emotion, and I'm going to create a form submitting class and drop all of this in here. Can drop my ampersands because you don't need them in Emotion. And then swap out over here. We're just going to drop in the styles themselves instead of a class name. Next, I've got my label, so we're going to do a styled label. And my styles for it are, we're going to have to do that animation here in a second, which will be fun because I haven't done that in a bit, so we're going to have to remember how it works. Let's add our styles here, and then now we've got to convert this color over. So we're going to have to import that. I'm going to do an import colors from config styles, which is here. And we've got a variable gray in there, so we are good to go there. Let's drop in this label. Here. And then I can drop this class name. Wait. Group. Did I do the wrong thing? Oh. That seems... What did I do? Oh, I did it as like a group. Not crazy about that. That seems not super semantic. Well, it's probably fine. Is that semantic? Let me think. Kind of. Because the label makes the input and associates this text with it. The span is semantically meaningless, so it would still count as a label. Pretty sure that's right. If anybody knows better than me, please correct me. Let's get this stuff out of the way so that we can see what's going on. So this is no longer a label. This is going to be more like a group, and I don't love the somewhat misleading nature of that, but I also don't really have a good reason to kind of refactor the way that that's going to work. Yes, I do. Okay. I'm going to do this one as label. And that's going to have that. And then I'm going to do label text. That feels way less terrible. And that being done, I can swap out this get rid of this class name. And then I can also go down here to my span, and I can change that to label text. Yeah, it's much less terrible. So that doesn't bother me as much as the other one did. Then we need to get the input. And that's going to be a styled input. So we collapse this one. And I can pull out all of these goodies. Let's fix that formatting, and then I'm going to, okay, we're gonna have to make some adjustments here. So let's start here with the stuff that's easy. And then take this one and this one. And we're just pulling out colors again from the style object. The transition time comes out of animation, which we haven't imported yet. So I need to do that. That's also part of this config object if we click through to it. I've got animation down here, and that's just got my transition time. So then I need to pull out this one. What color? Okay, so an input that's empty, the span on it is a slightly lighter color. And that in practice looks like this. And then when I type, it animates out of the way. Oh, that's right. I did like the material design thing. So what we want to figure out is what that color ended up being. And it was because it's empty, the color is this B3, B3, B3. And if we go over to the styles and look at our color object, we don't have that color. And I guess we're just going to make one. So that's going to be text lightest, because I don't think we can go any lighter than that. That don't even that seems like it might be an accessibility issue. It sure is. How dark does it need to not be an accessibility issue? Let's darken it up a bit. Nope, stop helping. Whoa. Okay, let's just undo all of that and try again. I'm going to pull this down a bit, and let's see what happens down here. Still not dark enough. Let's go to like 9s. That's still not dark enough? Uh-oh. Got accessibility issues all over the place. What does it need to be? Oh, it's got to be like 4.7 or something. I should make this taller so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. So that's the lightest we can go, which means that this one, which, am I using this somewhere? Because that is definitely spelled wrong. Is this accessible? That is accessible. So I'm just going to use that rather than fight with this. That's fine. So I'm going to get rid of this one because that's not a thing. And then I need to see if I actually use this, because that indicates two things. First, I must have been tired when I did this originally. That's going to be find in files. And second, it would indicate that I was completely incapable of... No, I created it and never used it. What happened? Don't mind me. Okay. So, yeah. That's me solving my incompetence, one accessibility issue at a time. Shall we continue? Yes, we shall. So we've got this value in here. Again, we don't need the ampersand because emotion kind of assumes the ampersand. And all those are good. The background color, when it's focused, is a kind of a light gray like that. So let's take a look at what that actually is. F5 across the board. Do we have anything close to that? We don't. So let's... What would we call this? Let's call it like gray lightest. So we'll just change that to be gray lightest, and then I can change this to be colors purple. And how's that looking? Are we good? Okay. So then I can take this and swap it out for the inputs and get rid of that class name. Same for the email. And then the button, I feel like this is, like, did I just duplicate all my button styles? And if so, why? Like, let's look at my button styles. Buttons. So we've got a background of purple, a box shadow, a border. Border radius is a little bit different, but that doesn't seem worth starting over. Color's the same. Display block. Font family's the same. Font size is almost the same. Font weight's the same. Margin's the same. Boy, this is just lazy what I've done here. My padding is almost the same. Text transform. This is shoddy work. Real shoddy work that I'm doing here. Let's see. So, as far as I can tell, effectively what I've done here is I've taken my button and I've completely re-implemented it for reasons that are totally beyond me. And okay, so what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to, what's the right way to do this? Because I need to be able to override, because it looks like I've got a couple things that matter, like this max width being set differently. That matters, because on the popovers, if that max width is too wide, then things will get a little bit janky. They won't line up properly. The padding, I'm going to guess that matters, although I don't know why. But typically I don't do things like this unless I've got a good reason. Although then again, I did this, so maybe code is meaningless and I should just stop. No. Okay, I can't stop. Got to keep moving. So, yeah. I want to take all of this and I want to show my Explorer. And I want to go look at my components. And I'm just going to create a button component. And the reason I'm going to do this is that I want to extend this component, and I don't think that it's going to work the way that I'm going to do it. So I want to instead get styled from React Emotion, and we're going to, const button equals styled button. And now I want I'm going to just take these button styles out. And what I'm going to do is get all of these moved over. And why did that's why. Got one extra curly brace there. So I need my colors and fonts and animation from config styles. And I don't actually need React on this. I can just export default. So basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a styled component here that will be my button. I am not going to do, let's see, can I do that? How would I do that? I think I'm just going to need to kind of override with these small buttons. And the way that I would do that is small button. So I am going to have to do a button. small button is going to be a styled button. And then it gets not all of the same things. We're just going to override the things that need to be overridden. And I can delete everything else. And that gives us our small button. And I can just export this one straight up. So this will be a named import. This will be the default import. And what I should be able to do then is anywhere that I'm using button, which currently I'm not using it anywhere. Why do I even code? I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. So what I need to do though, so now I have this this button, and I can import the button from button, and then we'll override the styles that we need to override instead of completely duplicating all of that. So I've got form button, and that'll be a styled button. And then we just need to pull out the things that are actually different. So the things that were actually different were the max width, the padding, and what else? Did I change anything else? Oh, that should be in just the button itself, because we do want, when you hover over a button, for it to look like a button. So got that one in there. Border radius, all that, I think was all the rest of it was the same. Yep. Maybe I want this different button size, border radius size, but let's see what that looks like before committing, because I might just want to standardize up on that. So let's go to the button, change that out. We can drop the class name, hidden inputs. None of those have classes, so we can export that. And with that being said, I think we're ready to take a look at our... Okay, so something went wrong. What was it? So that's all there. This, however, is not showing up for reasons that I don't understand. So let's take a look. Got my label text. Label text is here. We've got color set on it. Email address, so it must be... So that's a z-index issue. However, the width isn't showing up for some reason. And so if I say width is 200 pixels, then, I mean, it kind of solves that problem, but it doesn't really solve that problem. Did I leave a bunch of things out at the bottom? I sure did. Let's stop touching buttons until I actually get the rest of the code in here. So on the form, if the form supports grid, we are going to do things. Those things include actually having it display as a grid. For the group and the button. Now remember, I converted the label, so the group is now a label. The label is going to only span one column in the event that the screen is big enough for that not to look terrible. So we need to do that, but now I need to import media. So I'm going to do that. And for the form, if we've got media medium, so on a medium-sized viewport, we're going to set the grid templates, and this should actually be inside of here. Okay, so we've got that, and then the button is going to do similar things. So the button down here is going to get its display grid, and for those it will be grid column span 2, and then on medium size screens it will have a different setup. So let's take a look at what we did. Okay, so that's better. It's not great though, so what went wrong here? Something in this this button setup is not quite right, which means I probably missed something. So I set the max width. I didn't set a width, but that should be okay. Did I need to set a line height? Let's see what the line height does. Line height's not helping. I wonder, because that's, let me turn this off and let's take a look at this. Oh, I just set a margin on the top. But where? Margin left, margin right. And the issue would be that it's not overriding. So in this case, I didn't override that default margin top. That default margin top comes in from the reset. And the reset says that everything should have a margin top of 1 rem. So I can, in here, just add that right back in. And we should see that's better. Now, am I zoomed in on this, or I was zoomed in? Ah, so that was part of the problem. Now, notice this isn't showing up, which means that I missed part of the transition here. So the how did I do that? Yeah, there's a transition. And so the font size, So that's right. Maybe it does need this. Ah, okay. So apparently when you're attaching attributes in emotion, you do need to use the ampersand. Cool. So that feels pretty good. I can get rid of this altogether, I think. And that, yep, I can get rid of that. Okay, that was it. So now I can head over here and I can delete that popover or this opt-in stuff. So let's get rid of that. Good deal. And next, well, this is starting to look like my old site. Let's take a look. So here's the current site. Here's the development site, and looks like there's an issue where this gets bigger, and that's not happening on the new site. Although, looking at this, I'm wondering, do I like it better smaller? Or am I just rationalizing that because I don't want to do the work? That is a good question, me. So I think I should figure out why that's happening. And I bet it's happening because of something that I have since deleted. I think I don't care enough to deal with it now, so I'm just not going to. Instead, let's take a look at the blog page. And the blog is in pretty good shape, so let's get the rest of the pieces over. Where do these go? This one? Are these the previews? Yeah, so these are the previews, and I'm going to come over here and we're going to take a look at the blog previews template, which is here. And close this one because I'm not using it. Close that because I'm not using it. And let's take a look at what we need to change in over here. So that has nothing to do with what we're working on. So we've got the preview page heading. So let's get those pieces in here. We need styled from emotion, from React emotion actually. We can start putting those together. We've got const heading equals styled h1. And that is going to be this here, right? Yes. Okay, then we got to get in our colors. And then we have to import those colors. Okay, so we get our colors, then we can swap out that heading. Okay, let's get the preview. We're going to use a section because that is a nice semantic way of making that work. Grab these styles out. Get this color switched over. And switch publish that. Okay, convert that to a preview. Good, good. And then we can start looking at the preview heading, which is going to be a heading level 2. And there's not much to that. It's already got the styles from global typography settings. So this is just a minor font tweak, or size tweak, I should say. Okay, then we're gonna do that's going to be a styled link, and the link that we're importing there is Gatsby link. So that's used for any like local linking, so to another page on the same website. Because in doing that, we get to take advantage of things like Gatsby's preloading and a whole bunch of other good things that I don't want to build myself. So we let Gatsby do it for us. So we take that, put that in there, and then we can do that. And I actually want to keep my naming consistent, so I'm going to actually call it preview link. Okay, so we got that one in there. Let's get the category list, yeah? So I can drop the styles. And now we've got a category list. So let's take our category list. And that was a div. This is just a list of category links, I think. Got our category list, and then the category link gets imported. So we'll have to style that one in a minute. Then we've got our excerpt, which we just mess with the top margin on that to make it a little more snugly with the title above it. That was a paragraph, I think. So let's get down here, verify it is indeed. Okay. Tag links are going to be styled elsewhere, and then we've got this this read more link. So let's get that read more link. Actually, yeah, we'll call it a link, be clear. That's also a styled link, Gatsby link. And we style it like so. Read more link. And I think that's everything. So let's take a look for styles. That's it. So let's kill that. Get back out here. Take a look at our blog. Everything looks good. So let's get the, actually we're going to need to do a little bit more here because there's styles for the blog itself that we're still needing to convert over. But I want to get the category link and the tag link first so that we can just be done with those. So let's get to the category link. That one's going to be over here. And we're going to open it here. Keep that open. All right, and so this one is nice and simple. That is just going to be a link, and then if it's block, we add some more. So what we'll do is we'll pull in the cat, let's see, call it a cat link so that we don't have issues with the names. And that's going to be a styled link. So we need to pull in styled from React Emotion. That gives us our cat link, and inside of it, we're going to grab all of these details. We can drop the ampersands, and we need to pull in our colors. So we've got those, and I'm going to convert all of these colors and then we also need animation, and that one is going to live here. Animation.transition time. Come on, buddy. There we go. What did I break? What don't you like? Okay, so then I take this out here. Using our cat link, I can drop this. And then for the link block, what I'm going to do, ooh, this will be fun. So this is kind of a take on the lobotomized owl selector, where I want the first category to have a margin top of 25 REM, but any subsequent ones shouldn't, which means they'll kind of butt up on each other, which is, I think I know why I did that. So, just to keep the layout nice and tight, but that means I need to do some CSS stuff. So let's import CSS from Emotion. And then I'm going to set the link block to be CSS. I'm going to put this in here. And then what I think will work is this. Or potentially even this. Let's start there and see if it works. So getting in there, and then instead of styles.linkBlock, I'm going to use that. And that should be all of my styles. So let me get rid of that. That's gone. And I think that means then that I've got styled categories. And I don't remember where I even use that block. So let's take a look at it though. So I use it here. And I do set it as a block in the posts themselves. So in one, I think I did this for all of this because in one of my categories I have too many things. And then it was in the meta, which is currently hidden, but I think it's still there. So if I go to my aside, the meta, and I look for my category, this one shows margin top. This one also shows margin top. So that's no good. What if I do... What if I do this one? Does that work? So I'm here, got this category list. Okay, so that one. And then here. So now it works. So this is so you can get siblings. Like I have my first link block gets this rule, and then every other link block next to it would get this rule. So cool, that worked. That's what I wanted. Let's get back over to the Explorer and let's fix this tag link. So I have successfully done this. Let me delete this one. Yes. I'm not importing it anymore, so I'm going to close that. My tag link. And then I want to open over here the tag link. And so this one should be similarly painless, I hope. So I'm going to do import styled from React Emotion, and then it looks like we're going to need colors and animation. So I'm going to do import colors and animation from the config. And then I can do equals styled link. It's Gatsby link again because it's a local link. I can pull all of these. I can drop my ampersands because you don't need them. And let's get these colors. Oh, crap. So that one there, and then I need to get this animation transition time. There. Okay. So then, if I drop this and get rid of the styles, then what we should see, if all goes well, is that I can get rid of this. And when we come back here, we've got the, so the before is actually working now, which is good. So if I click on this, we can see that the after or the before pseudo element does have the content that I want, which is to make it into a hashtag. And then a problem that I do have is that when it gets hovered, it's getting that purple background. So I need to set that background to transparent so that it doesn't do that. That's better. So now this is actually legible and not purple on purple. That's good. Well, I think we're in pretty good shape here. This is starting to come together. So let's delete this tag link. Okay, and let's go on to finish the blog post. So we don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore, but we can open the blog post template and apparently deleted that. Didn't mean to, but I guess that's okay for now. So we're going to take styled from React Emotion, and we're going to start making things happen here. So we've got a layout that layout is going to be blog layout, and that's going to be a styled layout. And it gets the main styles. So right out of the gate, we need to grab media.medium. That's going to come out of the config file. Okay, so far so good. Next, we need to get the article. We'll call that the blog. And that's all good. So then we've got some styling stuff going on here. So we'll just pull that in. This is going to be media.large. And on the blog layout, we start messing with the width. And so this is a little goofy, but basically what's happening is this is the width of the sidebar, like the meta sidebar. This is the margin between them, and this is the max width that I actually want the content area to be. So like this is 57 characters, I guess if I click in. This is 57 characters, which is what the CH means. And I can find that here. Where is it? Here. Where the hell did it go? Here. 57 characters, right? So what I want on one of these is this is 160 pixels wide. This is a 2 rem gap. And then this is 57 characters. So we're just doing the math to make that work. And CSS is awesome because it gives us the ability to do that. So next, I want to add this same catch for the blog. So we get that in here. And then wrap that up. Let's see. And so this one is just setting up the grid. And again, that's kind of set up to give us, if you look at, so this is the live site that's working. I've got this grid column here. So the grid is, there's this empty one here. There's the title. There's the meta box. And then there's the content box. And then got some things happening here. So what's going on now is that this meta box is positioned sticky. So let me go a little bit further. Then down at the bottom, we've got some more grid stuff going on. If I can get to it. Here we go. So position sticky, and then we've got this grid. So there's a chunk for about the author info, and then this is like a call to action, asking people to join my newsletter. So that's the grid that we're setting up here, is 170 pixels and then 1 FR. And then, column gap is 2 REM and so on and so forth. So that's what we're setting up. And then, let's see, none of these get like actually... Cool. Okay, so then what'll happen is I'm going to swap out this wrapper. So now this is a blog, and this is a blog. And so what'll happen now is that I've got my individual pieces here. So we've got the header, and that's going to be a styled H1, I believe. Where did it go? Yeah, styled H1. that is going to have this same general setup here. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to drop it in, and then I'm going to empty it out, because what I need next is each of these to exist. So let's drop in the article. I actually think that that should be called content instead, because that is the content with footnotes. Yeah. So content is going to be, where am I getting content with footnotes? Is that up here somewhere? That's a styled content with footnotes. Okay. And then we've got the CTA. And the CTA is a styled CTA. And then we've got, what else is going on? We've got post meta down here, here. And then that's also going to need this. Kind of lost track of what we were doing there for a second. And so let's style some of those up and make sure that things are doing what we want them to do. So inside of our header, article, and CTA, we've got header, content, call to action, I'll get that, and the meta and the floating head. Okay, so I'm going to swap these out now. Let's get the is that right? Header. Meta. Content. Call to action. And author. Yep. Okay, so let's take a look over here and see what happened. Okay, so we've got our grid set up, but as you can see, things aren't quite right. But, so we've got the CTAs in place, but something is not quite right with the see, oh, because I'm still importing styles. So we're going to get rid of these. You can get rid of those. Going to get rid of these. That was definitely the wrong thing to get rid of. Jeez. Going to get rid of these. Okay, so where is this getting? Here's my aside, and I'm setting display none. In the module. Okay, but where? Okay, so then, okay, we didn't quite finish here. So the meta needs to have a row start of 2, and the floating head, which is now called author, needs to start in row 3 with a margin top of 2 rem. And the heading itself is going to be a styled. Oh wait, we got issues. So the header is a styled header, and the blog heading is a styled H1. Then in here, got this one. This needs to be media.medium. And I can swap that out in here. Somewhere here. Okay. In doing that, I should be able to see, yeah, that's pulling in the right stuff. All good. It's setting the blog size properly, also good. And what I'm running into, let's see, this one can go away. So let's take a look at the aside. That's being set in where? Post meta. So let me go into post meta and let's style that up. But in the meantime, I think we have successfully rid ourselves of the need for this one. So let's kill it. Oh, it's nice to see this list getting shorter. All right, we still got a little bit of time. So let's get a little bit further here. I'm going to be so happy to be done migrating CSS. This is like hour 6 of, or maybe not quite that long, but it feels like hour 600. Where was I? Post meta. So post meta, here's the module. Here is the style sheet, and let's make this happen. So we've got import styled from React Emotion. And we've got the wrapper is going to be styled aside. That gets this set up. And then we need to pull in media, colors from the config styles. So you get converted over, and then we do a media query, and that's going to be large viewports, and we pull in all of this. All good, all good. Can drop this in here. So we're gonna do wrapper, and then it takes a class name from, or it potentially takes a class name as a prop, but that usually is gonna be, I think, pretty much always that'll be blank, I think. Let's not overthink that. So then, so we're doing some fun things. We got the sticky support, et cetera, et cetera. Let's get the image styled up. Equals, that's a styled image, which is Gatsby image. And that is here. So that's our Gatsby image. We are styling it here. That's got not a lot going on. Good. convert this over to voila. And then we'll switch it over, get rid of the class name. Good, good. Hard-coded things, always love those. Then we need the text, and that text is just a margin adjustment. Oh. So posted in is probably not a good name for this, actually. We should call it text. That's better. And then this sticky container, which is here, actually needs to be rewritten. So let's rename this one to text so that it actually works. And then I've got this sticky container here. And the way that that should work, in fact, is it's going to be a styled, is it just a div? Div. Let's close this because I'm not using it. And we've got this is going to instead live in here. You can get rid of that. And instead, we're just going to style that up. And then we can get rid of this. And that's my wrapper, so that should have just been like this in the first place. And let's get this sticky container. Okay, so I think that should have fixed it. Okay, so that's better. Good. Floating head is broken. Pretty sure that is broken because we haven't finished it yet. So let's get rid of this post meta that we're not using anymore. Good. Let's get to the floating head, which is here. And then the module itself is here. So we can import styled from React Emotion. Getting close, I can feel it. And so this one is also going to have a wrapper. I got a hunch. It's going to be, yep, an aside. Okay, so we're going to need to import colors. Looks like we use media a little bit later on. What else are we going to need? That's it. Okay. And then I can go in here. We can drop this one out, but we do allow a pass-through class if necessary. And because we're not doing string interpolation, we can drop that down and simplify it. Okay. Let's style up this image. And again, this is a Gatsby image. So we're going to pull, oh wait, we need this media query. So that's going to be media.large. And because it's in emotion, it's not nested like that. And that is broken. So, okay, there's our formatting. Good. Got our styles here for the image. And drop those straight in and then convert this to a variable. Oh my God, I cannot find that button today. There it is. Here. There's our image. Can drop the class name. I don't think we need that anymore because I'm pretty sure, I feel like we solved that. Probably. I don't know. It's not causing problems now, so I'm going to ignore it and hope for the best. Let's pull the heading across. Heading and text. So we've got and then we've got text. And we need those to be an H3 and a paragraph, respectively. Okay. That's no longer used. We can get rid of this floating head. And there's the about the author. So this is good news. And you know, the position sticky, what I love about this is like, this is just native browser behavior now. So before I've built things like that and they're horrendous because you're trying to calculate on move to figure out, you know, what's the distance from the top and is the distance from the bottom, you know, is it colliding with this so that we've got to do this thing. And then now you just like set position sticky and shit just works and it's magical. Let's see, what else do we need to do? This is good. This is all, yep, I'm happy with all of that. That's opening the popover. That's what we want. Hot damn, we are getting real close. So let's do pages. Let's go to the about page. This is already pretty close to right, but let's just figure out what needs to change. So I've got my page, and then I've got my page. So this is the template. This is the module. I can import styled from React Emotion. And now we can do a what do I even need here? Let's see. I've got the opt-in notice. Like, where does all this shit come from? Am I using it somewhere? Styles. Content area. So that's it. That doesn't feel right. Okay, so I'm using it across a few pages here, which seems somewhat troublesome. So what I should probably do is take things like the opt-in notice and just airlift that out into a shareable component. So let's do that. And yeah, what was it? It's just a paragraph. feel like this color, do we decide that color is too light? Maybe. Where was it? Here. No, here. Oh no, I've been making so many mistakes. Okay, so we're going to use this color, the text light. Which means we need to import our colors. So we've got that, style that up. And it turns out we're not using React after all, we're just exporting a style component. So then over here, now I can just import that opt-in notice from components, opt-in notice, and I don't have to duplicate those styles anymore. Okay, so I can fix it on there. I can fix it on the page. Let's do the same thing with this. Right, that was just the one, yep. Then I just need to import it. Okay, got that one. And what else do we got here? We've got, so that one's done. I should check. On the index, let's see if I use, nope. So those are the two places, so that's handled. We've got the content area. And that's only used on the page, so let's style that up. It's a styled section. Okay, and what I'm going for with that is that it will make the first paragraph will be bigger. So let's try that. And that's it for these styles too, yeah? Okay, so I've got that. And we should then see that this first paragraph has a 10% bigger applied to it. Oh, but that one's a lead. Let's look at this one instead. Yeah, paragraph first to type, font size 110%. Do I need this? I do not. Okay. So, don't need it for descendant selectors. Oh, yes you do, because, or maybe you do. Still good? Yep, okay. So, that works. That's good news. That's everything that I'm using on the page. So let's go back to my other pages here, my custom pages, and let's pull out the other styles. So I've got a centered heading. I've got my beard image. And that's going to be a styled image. And we're not using Gatsby image on this one because when you import an SVG directly, it gets inlined as like an SVG. It doesn't. You don't have to do any processing on it. So with that, I can do. Here's my beard image. Let's drop this. So I need to import media from config styles, and then let's convert this. And you go here. So that should work. We've got beard image, and we can get rid of this class name. Question in the chat is what IDE? This is VS Code, but it's like a stripped down version of VS Code. When I do screencasting, I turn off like the status bar and some of the sidebars and things like that. So this is just a lightweight version of VS Code with most of the features disabled, which is why I'm struggling so hard. Okay, hey, more hard-coded alt. Let's just pretend that no one saw that. Centered heading. That's going to be a styled, or am I using that anywhere else? Nope, just here. So that's going to be a styled H1. And I think all I need on this is here. And I'm actually just going to call this heading because it's just in this file and I don't need to make that more confusing than it already is. Let's do a subheading. And the subheading is here. And that is only used here in about.js. And I forgot to do this. Okay. Official bio. And that one is a div. Okay, and then is the lead used anywhere else? Nope. So I can pull out the lead. Right? Yes. Really? That's like next level laziness where I couldn't even be bothered to modify the class that only... Jesus. Okay, so I've got a font size and a margin top. Here's my lead. What else do I have in here? That's it, I think. So should be able to get rid of that. Let's get rid of the, collapse that. That's it, let's kill it. So we've got that. Can get rid of the page.module.css, and oh, I can just feel it. We're coming in fast here. So let's fix the CTA. Get that over to modules. Import styled from emotion, and then not a lot to do here because it's just the button. Oh, fascinating. Can I just reuse my button? Because that would be dope. Let's look. What are my CTA styles for the button? I really hope I didn't duplicate the button yet again. What did I do? Oh, I just made it display block. So this isn't actually a button. This is just like text. Now, why do I make a display block? What happens if I don't? And that is the CTA down here. Okay. So I've disabled this, which should mean that I can get rid of you. Should mean that I can even get rid of you. And I'm on my own blog is why nothing's happening. Uh-oh, I broke something. Styled is not defined on about.js. How's that? Still not happy. Styled is not defined on about.js. Did you crash? Oh, you crashed. Oh, we're getting close. I think we can finish this before I shut down for the day. Come on now. Can't resolve page.module.css in pages. Error. Uh-oh. Error. Do you reuse a bunch of things? Crap. Was it just the one thing? Okay. So let's look in here. And all that heading did was what? Where did you even pull this from? Did I delete something? Like that doesn't even exist. Maybe try again. Oh, come on. Why are you trying to resolve? Because I haven't deleted it yet is why. God damn it. There you go. Okay, so let's get an error. Can I just show an error page? I can just show an error page. It's in here. Okay, so this is fine. And yeah, it's doing what it's supposed to. Responsively, it seems okay. Let's make sure that that does. Is that supposed to get smaller? Let's see, 320. It's like the smallest that we can expect to go. So let's look at the blog. And then let's go back to that error. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. I don't know what that was. We're just going to leave that be. We're going to get rid of that. Or I guess I better look and see what that looks like. If I go down to the blog, let's get all the way down here, and it just does that. Which I don't love, but I also think I can fix that much more easily by doing this. I don't know why. Sometimes I like to overcomplicate things. So now it's what it should be. It's a link. Cool. That was, I don't know what happens in my brain sometimes. Cool. So let's get rid of this. Let's go in here. Start shutting some of these down too. Got a lot of things open in here. Page, post meta. Good. Okay, so let's get the footer open. And the footer has already been converted. So did I just forget to delete it? I believe the answer is yes, I did. Excellent. However, wait, I think I know what happened. I got most of the way there and then didn't finish because there was media query stuff. So in the copyright, here's all the stuff I didn't do. I'm going to do media.medium. Make sure that we're actually bringing that in. And then drop in those styles, and then let's see, for the footer. Whoa, not there, here. If it supports display flex, we're going to add all of those goodies. And if it supports display flex on the copyright, we're going to drop in these goodies. And on the link, if it supports all of this good stuff, we need to drop in these goodies. And I believe that'll give us back. Yeah, there's the rest of it. So that's what we wanted to happen, is it has a little more layout, but as the page shrinks, is that? I'm going to assume that was an HMR issue. As I start to expand the page, you can see that footer reflows the way we want it to. Good. Okay, so now we can for real delete the footer, which is already deleted. Now I'm just getting it back into the trash. Footnotes we need to move over. And footnotes are handled kind of weird because they're generated in Markdown. So some of this is footnote stuff, and some of this is like Markdown in Footnotes. So what ends up happening is when you use Remark and you have footnotes, these it generates some markup. So let's take a look at the markup that comes out here. So you get these footnotes, and the ones that it generates are fine, but they don't look great. They're just kind of a numbered list, and that's cool if you're like writing docs, but you know, on a website, you want it to be a little more cool. So what this one does is when they load, it hides these footnotes and then transfers them over to this this footnote module so that we can style them up and make them look cool. So for handling, the way that that ultimately ends up working is here we've got our footnote display container, and that's what's all down here. And then in the markdown itself, we have to grab this, or the markdown markup, the generated stuff. We have to hide the footnotes and then look for things that I styled up in the notes themselves, like these footnote images. So if I do a quick search for footnote image, and let's also include content, then we can see that in like this particular post, which is, which one now? Keeping score. So if I go over to keeping score, I've got a footnote in here, right? And so I want that to be styled. So if I look at it out here, it's like floated to the right and all that kind of stuff. So we want to get that same thing instead of forcing somebody to scroll. That will be handled by setting up these global styles, which currently don't work because this is a CSS modules thing that we haven't dealt with. So this, I think, is going to replace. So in here, we've got this button style, right? So the buttons don't ever actually get used, which means I can get rid of this entirely. Let me just check that one more time because it's really annoying. Oh, I do. Do I use it? Oh, okay. So I use it on the contact form. There's a button. Okay. So that makes me feel a little bit better about this not being still a little confused about it seems like maybe I should button small. Yeah, I don't know. It feels very silly and wasteful to have this many duplicate styles in here, but I'm going to end up undoing all of this when I put MDX in place anyways. So maybe I'm just not going to think about it today. Today I'm going to leave it be, and instead we're just going to add one more, and this one's just going to add a couple footnotes things. I already did that. I've got my footnote ref, And I'm also going to put in these. So that one, and then I've got footnote image. It's not going to style for me. Okay. So those will go. Oh, and then I've got this one as well. So that'll have to switch over to media.medium. Fix that formatting. Let's get back to that post. And this is still going to be broken, but the image itself is now floated right, which is what we wanted. However, that seems like it should have kicked in. Why didn't you work? Oh, maybe I need to invert these. I bet that's what it is. Then what? Heyo. So that's what it was. And if I inspect these, yeah, it's showing up the way that it should. Okay, good deal. So let's get the rest of these styles in here, and we should be good to go. Got those, got these. Let's get our footnote display in place. Close that one out. Close that one out. Here we go. So let's get import styled from React Emotion. And let's do the footnote display is a styled aside. Yes. And it's going to be all of these things. And that means that we need to do a little bit of importing. So we need the colors. From config and styles. And that means I can take this one and this one. That one. I'm going to leave those two alone because I can't do my shortcut thing. So colors.lightest and here. This one needs to be that. And then over here I can do there. And with this, I want, so what I really want is I want this to be kind of faded out. It's a gradient that fades out, and the reason that I do that is so that when content overflows, do I have a long one here? No. No. Come on. Got like a diatribe in this one. Where is it? There. So you can see down at the very bottom here how the content is like fading away as I scroll. That is That's because we don't want like a hard line at the bottom where it's just kind of like a break. So that means I need to create a new color, and we'll just call this lightest transparent. And the reason that I'm doing it like this is that when we do the fade, we want it to fade to the right shade. And so if it was like a different color, or am I making this harder than I need to? Hold on. What if I just do this? That's going to be stupid if it works. Here's my footnote display. And for now, I'm just going to drop this in here. And we can drop this one out. And do that. And then I want to see, if I go back in here, that. Now my labels are breaking because why is that breaking? Are there some styles that are missing? No? I don't know why that would suddenly give out on me. Probably because I'm mixing my active and inactive states again. So I'm going to do let's do this. So I need to import that state, but I'm going to drop this, do this, and then let's get import CSS from emotion. And then we're going to say, if it's active, we're going to drop in active. Let's try that again. There we go. So now let's look and see if that that thing worked. Yeah. So I was just making my life hard for reasons that are typically only known to me. Cool. So I can get rid of that. That one's moved over. This one's moved over. Let's get this text wrap. And that's going to be a style div. Okay. And this one pulls in the footnote number. Let's do here. Okay. And finally the footnote text. Oh, and then we need to get this. This back ref is going to go into, so what I think that means is if I look at one of these shorter ones, that's currently not showing up. That's coming, and that's because it's coming out of the module. So we need to put this into our footnote export. Okay. And then over here, we're going to get our another style div, divs on divs. This is so that we can get the window or the scroll effect. So we've got our text and the footnote close. Is going to be all of these good things. And what this does is adds our the cross symbol and just styles that up to be nice and up in the top right corner. So let's take that. We will drop, whoops, don't want to drop the on-click handler. So we got those. And that should be the end of those footnotes. Let's take a look and make sure it works. So close. What did we lose? We lost the data footnote number, which means that that is why isn't that coming in? Okay, so if I look at this, that should have the number, but it doesn't because I have special magic things happening that I think need to change. And where are those happening? Okay. So I know this is happening. And it was happening by looking for footnote display? No. Come on, how am I doing this? I know how I'm doing this. Where would it be? Content with footnotes. Okay, but where are you getting the footnotes? Target ID. Okay, so if I'm clicking on a footnote ref, yeah, that's all fine. Then if its state is footnote active, where are you setting the data? So then in footnotes, I would have the number. Okay, I clearly broke something. So let's take a look at the original code. And see what I deleted, because I think there must have just been a setting that I deleted when I was doing the class names. There it is. Well, that was foolish. So that's down here on the text wrap. And assuming, yep, cool. Okay, so those are, oh, but that doesn't look right. I wonder if it's always been like that. Oh, it sure has. That's gross. Let's fix that. So if I take this, let's hover, and then let's figure out what's going on. The line height. Nope. Nope. Padding? That looks a little less terrible. Should I make that border radius? Why are you being overridden? Oh, whoops. Is that? Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. So this is the close button, and I'm going to make that close button. Set the padding. And then it was, what did I do? 0.2. And then I'm going to set the border radius to 0.5. And I think that was everything, right? And let me set that border radius up here as well, because otherwise it's going to look goofy on that animation. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so that looks less terrible. Cool. So we've got our footnotes. We can now delete that footnote module, which is super exciting. And I think we're down to pagination and that's it. So let's delete this. Get to that pagination. Pagination is where? Here? Okay, and so the pagination as it's set up now is down here. It's a pretty like rudimentary setup. So let's take a look at getting it pulled over. So we're going to import styled from React to Motion, hopefully one last time. And then I can do const, call this a wrapper because we've already got a pagination link. We've got our display flex. And then down here, do the same. Okay, so that's done. The pagination link is going to be a styled link. And that is Gatsby link. Comes in like so. Can get rid of these, and then we need to pull in colors from config styles. Okay. Let's just maybe find all of these. Okay. And then let's see, what note did past Jason write to excuse his horrible decisions? This is a filthy, dirty hack that seems like it shouldn't need to exist, but apparently first to type in CSS modules has higher specificity than adding an additional class. Cool, so maybe we can actually get rid of that by, where do we actually use it? Where is it? Okay, so it's only used here. And so this one can get removed. This one can get dropped altogether. This one can get dropped altogether. That one can get dropped altogether. And this move right is going to now become a CSS class. From emotion. So let's see. So now I'm going to try this without the important. And here we go. Which means I can get rid of all of that. And is that everything? Okay, so I think that might be the end of it. Let's give that a shot. Let's take a look at the pagination. It is broken. first of type. Okay, so yeah, first of type is taking higher precedence. But I feel like I've seen this hack. Maybe it's a double. Okay, so this just applies the class twice. And for some reason, that fixes the specificity rules, which is bonkers, and I don't know why. Whatever. CSS is an interesting thing. Let's see. Yeah, so it definitely could. So the in the chat it says that it could come down to the order the rules are appearing in the CSS, which wouldn't be affected if we're writing in JSX. So I think what it is ultimately doing here is this is being applied as a class to this, so it should, that should override, but apparently pseudo selectors are higher specificity. I don't know the CSS spec, and so I'm not going to pretend to have a solid answer on that. And this doesn't feel all that much better than an important hack, but it's going to work. And in this particular case, this is not an active code base. I'm the only one in here, so if I make bad decisions, it's just me who has to deal with it. So in this case, I'm going to let that slide. I don't feel great about it. It would be really cool if I didn't have things like that to struggle with, but it is what it is. So then I've got this one thing here that I need to deal with, which is this 5 stages. And so the 5 stages are, I think is it called the slog? No. Shit. Let's see. Let's just search. Oh, is it called 5 stages? Oh, why ideas fail. So, I did this really cute thing where I have these posts, and these are all broken. So let's go over to the live post. And so what ends up happening here is when you are, uh-oh, did I break it? Oh no. Huh. Well, that's too bad. I thought it worked. Let's see what's broken. Oh, it's missing. Oh, weird. Okay. So for some reason, my images are broken, which means I did something silly. And yeah. So that's going to be a fix for another day, because I am going to have to basically reverse engineer the way this works. What it does is it stacks these images and then has 5 slices, and they slide open depending on which area you're in. So with this one, it makes the text fly in and does these other things. And so I need to go in and fix these so that they're not, I don't want them to be global. I only want them to load on this one particular blog post. Or I need to make a decision to drop the cutesiness and just kind of stick images in. Which, given that it's broken right now, the tempting thing to do is just kind of give up on the cutesiness. Because if we look at the 5 stages post, it's set up, let me just close that. So it's set up like this. These are the divs, and then I've got these spans, and each of these spans has the image on the background. And so it kind of accordions as you go through different sections of the page. Given that this is, I don't know, kind of feels like it's a lot of work for not, like this is not a high traffic post and this is an old post. So maybe I can just let this one go and be okay with that. So if I get rid of these, yeah, I'm just going to do it because I'm not super, oops. I'm not really attached to it, and it wasn't a technological feat of any sort. It was just some janky, or not even janky, it was just some like really like finicky CSS work that wasn't semantic or anything. So let's just eliminate that altogether instead of trying to create more technical debt for myself. So I can get rid of that, and then down in here, okay. And then that can go. So I'm just going to delete that. And I believe let's do a quick search. Okay. I think that's it. So I'm just going to kill this folder altogether. Now, I'm going to stop. I'm going to see if I can build. It does build, or it runs and develops, so let's run an actual build. I just want to make sure that it doesn't crash out on the CSS at all. Okay, and so with that, I can serve it, open it up, and that's what's cached. So this is the actual site, and if we look at the actually, here's a good question. I installed Emotion, but I don't know that I configured the plugin. I didn't. So I'm pretty sure I just have to drop that in. Gatsby plugin Emotion. And the reason that I noticed that just happened is, I don't know if it shows in the, yeah, you can probably see it in the video. The that pop where there's no styles, that should not happen. So Emotion has the ability to extract things, and I am not making any changes to the Emotion setup, so I'm just going to drop it straight in. And so now, when I close this, I'm going to do another build, and what should happen, assuming I didn't make any mistakes with my CSS when we get into the server-side rendering stuff, so I changed plugins, which means that we dumped the cache. So it's just doing queries to get all of like the images and stuff are being updated, the external queries that I'm doing. Okay. So this is the phase that it's most likely to fail in since I've been screwing with CSS. All good. Okay, so let's try that one more time. I'm going to serve the site, get over to localhost 9000, and there we go. That's what I wanted. See how it's not doing that flicker of like unstyled content? So I get a flicker because of my my web fonts, and that's something that I should deal with in the future because I don't think I've got swap in there. And I should, because that is an easy thing to fix. Let's, what is it? It's font display swap, is that right? Gonna go? Come on, here we go. Yeah, so I want font display swap because swap will show the like default font. So I'm just going to add that to my styles, and on the typography, wherever I use my heading, or actually, I think that's fine because I'm using system fonts. And so if well, anyways, that's something that I will talk about in a second. In the meantime, if I click around, I've got my pages are doing what I want them to. I've got all the things that I want. This should open my popover. It does. My popover styles are working properly. I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think we got it done. So yep, those are all good. Yeah, it's doing what I wanted it to. So good deal. I'm happy. Excellent. Okay, so that's kind of the end of what I'm going to do today. I got the styles completely converted over to Emotion, and so just to demonstrate the font swap thing, what should happen if I build this again, and hopefully it'll go nice and fast because we've got a cache, but what should happen is now I shouldn't even get that flicker of fonts. It should show me the system font and then swap over to the web font. And if that's working, yeah, that seems to be right. I mean, it's really hard to say without a slow network, so let's throttle. Network, let's go to fast 3G. And I think it's showing up so fast because is it because I've got, it might be because I've got the font enabled. So let me disable it. Let's go slow 3G. I want to see that swap actually happen. I apparently did that wrong. But I am out of time. It's a little past 5 p.m., so I'm going to have to deal with that on another day. In the meantime, thanks so much for tuning in. And next time, I hopefully will be building something more interesting than a CSS conversion to Emotion. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.